thought we really missed a lot of easy shots, some layups, some free throws, and gave them a chance to get back in the game, and we just didn't convert.
Did you get the sense at all that your team kind of thought it was over and let up a little bit, or do you think it was more execution-type issues?
I don't think they thought it was over, but for instance, we were up 5, and believe me, this is on me as a head coach. So if I answer questions about players, it's not like I'm putting the blame on them. This is on me. I'm a head coach, and I take the loss harder than anyone. So, but to answer your questions honestly, we were up 5, and Kate Reinhardt missed a free throw. I thought that was a big free throw because it would put us up 6, and we didn't end up scoring. I don't think we scored the rest of the game in regulation. They came right down, and we leave a corner shooter, and they make a 3. And then Nicholas steps out and shoots a 3, which I don't really like at that time of the game. And even with 35 seconds left, we had a 2-point lead. And Strahinja got the offensive rebound, and he had 2 options. He could either try to go back up with it over 2 people like he did, or he could have just kicked it out, and we could have held the ball, and they would have fouled us. So, to me, that's execution. It's knowing the time and score. I'm fine with Nicholas shooting a 3-point shot if he's wide open, if it's in the flow of the game, but probably not with a minute or a minute and a half left whenever he took that shot. I'm fine with Strahinja maybe going up for an offensive putback, but when it's that type of game and you got a guy right next to you, unless you can go up and just lay the ball in uncontestedly. So it's a learning experience for our players. I think they understand they have to execute better down the stretch, and they have to step up and have confidence at the foul line and make free throws, and also in overtime, I thought we had a chance. We missed a free throw, and then we ran a great execution. We got Julian Jacobs. He was 3 feet from the basket and shot a little floater and was short on a kind of floater layup. And we make that free throw and that layup, then it's a 1-point game, and and then it's probably goes down the wire again. So I thought offensively we kind of didn't make shots when we had to, and then defensively they made those 2 threes in overtime, which were huge. They did a great job, and we did a pretty good job defensively on their 3-point shooting. They were 5 for 30 up until the overtime, which is pretty good defense. But they made the 2 to start the overtime, and it really hurt us.
Coach, in the second half, what adjustments did you make? It seemed like you jumped out on them like I think 8-0 line on in the first half. But in all fairness to the game, realistically, I mean, you played great defense on Kyle Wilson. So basically, from your point of view, yes, they missed a little easy basket, but what do you do for your team for coming up game you play players like that? I mean, some guys are just unstoppable, you can't help that, but basically, as a coach, what do you feel now for the next game you're getting ready to get past this and move forward?
Well, I think we have to learn from what we did wrong, from our mistakes, and some of the mistakes that they're just
growing pains.
Well, they're growing pains, but you miss layups and you miss open jump shots, you miss free throws. But we're going to learn from our defensive mistakes, learn from our offensive mistakes, from a system standpoint. If we're missing, if we're not cutting hard enough, screening hard enough, rolling hard enough on the ball screens, we're not making the right play. But for the most part, we've been pretty good the last 2 weeks offensively and defensively, playing within ourselves. And so I thought tonight we came out in the second half, like you said, and really played well. We played well on both sides of the ball and got the lead. And then I thought we had some lapses, but you can't give a team as good as Army. They score a lot of points, and they got great players, and Wilson's one of them. And you can't – those guys are great offensive players. You can devise different things to get the ball in their hands, but at the end of the day, great players, you average 22 points, 23 points a game, and you do it for a long period of time. A lot of teams have the same game plan, try not to let him score, or guys you play against, and they always do. That means they're a great offensive player, and they find ways to score. So give him credit. I thought we did a good job up until the overtime on him. Then he got some free throws, but at the end of the game, he drove to the basket twice, which was very impressive. We just couldn't contain him, and you need to keep. We said you keep your when you can shoot the ball at that level, it makes you a better driver because you're always closing out hard, and he was able to use our closeouts and get to the lane and score a couple times at the basket because of his shooting ability and his offensive. He's just a great offensive player.
With such a young team, is there anything you can do to simulate those situations where weren't able to come up with the plays tonight?
It's really hard to simulate game experience in practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's just totally different. So, for instance, we shot free throws. We put you threaten them. Or if you miss, you run. The team runs. You do this. Yeah. And I bet we shot 85% this week on our simulated pressure situations. But you get in the game, it's totally different. And so that's one thing where that's a frustrating part as coaches, because if you could simulate it, you would do it all the time. But it's just totally different. And so, look, we have a young team, but they're very encouraged with what I've seen the last couple of weeks. This is not one of our better performances of closing out a game. I thought we played well enough to win up until about the 3 or 4 minute mark. If we make that free throw and make it a 6-point game and just make one easy shot down the stretch, then we probably win by 4 or 5 or maybe more. But it didn't happen. So we have to learn from that, and our players have to get ready for the next game.
Final play in regulation, was that drawn up for Darian to ISO on the elbow there?
Well, we were really drawing up for Nicola. Darian had the option, but we got what we wanted. We had an ISO situation with Nicola on a guy that he's a little quicker than, and Nicola had played well and is one of our better offensive players. And yeah, I don't think he made a decent move, but he still got a 6-foot shot or 7-foot shot in the middle of the lane at 6'11", and he just missed it. And we tried the ball screen before, and Jordan before, player 2 before. We tried a number of things tonight, but I wasn't unhappy with Nicola. I thought he made a decent move and had a pretty clean look. I don't think he was that contested, and he just missed a shot. So I have confidence in him. I get confidence in a lot of our players as far as taking that last shot, and he's one of them. And some games will be different, but can't fault him for that. He just missed a shot.
What were you guys doing well at the start of the second half that led to the 14-0 run?
Well, I thought we had really good energy on defense, and we made shots. That's our biggest thing all year. If you watched our games, and I know you've seen a lot of home games on the road. When we make shots, I think we've won every game, and the other games we've been pretty close. But when you shoot 40%, and then you shoot, what we do, shoot from the foul line, 54%. So we just shot, our percentages were just too low. And if you watch the games we lost, for instance, game earlier in the year, Akron, our bigs were 7 for 25 from the field between the 3 of them. Malik was hurt. 7 for 25 from the field, and 15 of them were lane shots. If you look at I'm sorry, that was the Penn State game. The Akron game, our starting guards were 5 for 23 from the field with 9 turnovers. Okay, so you're not talking about our reserves here, bench. You're talking about our starters, and so our better players need to make shots and finish. And if you look at our shooting percentages, and like I said, I'll put that blame on me, because if I need to put other guys in the game, or maybe kind of control the game better, where guys can get open shots or post ups or open shots off screens, and then I need to do that. So it goes both ways. I'm certainly not blaming our players. I take responsibility for it, and we got to do a better job of getting guys and shots that they can make.
So it seemed like Jordan was playing off the ball a lot in the first half. Was that an intentional?
Well, he's very good on the ball, off the ball. We have other guys that can handle it. So we got Julian Jacobs, Caden Reinhardt can all make plays off the dribble. So I'm not really. Jordan's done a great job. He's got to make his darn free throws. 6 for 11, but yeah, he's a freshman. He's very talented. He's a great kid. He works hard. He's getting better, and he'll get there.
Do you like the way that Caton was attacking the basket more in the second half? Is that what you want from him?
Well, yeah, I think Caton has to have a complete game where he can shoot the open three and put the ball on the floor, attack the rim, and also make plays for his teammates. And so he's getting better at it. I think you saw that tonight. You know, we like all our guards to try to shoot in the 40s and the mid-40s% from the field, and we like our bigs to shoot over 50% if they can, especially on the shots you get. And right now, tonight we didn't do that. I think Elijah Stewart was 3 for 5, and Nicola was 6 for 11. Everyone else was under 50%, and so. Yeah, we're getting better at certain things. Jordan, Caton getting better. Some of our other guys are getting better, but we're not all the way there yet. We got to keep working. But they're great kids. They're great teammates, and they're just young. But they're a lot of fun to coach, and so I expect us to bounce back from this, and they got to learn and get better.
One last question, Coach.
Going forward, going across country, you know, how do you prepare for that trip? You know, the only one you really had this season.
Well, we just flew across country and played 3 games in South Carolina, so it'll be our second cross-country trip. This will be a true road game. You know, we played a true road game at New Mexico, which was a fun place to play and great college basketball atmosphere. Boston College is a terrific team. They're very talented, and I think they just had a big win last week, won 3 in a row maybe. So we have to be prepared and understand that it's an ACC team, and they're different than they were last year. We're different than we were last year, so we have to prepare ourselves. But that's what college basketball is all about. You can't play every game at home. You got to go on the road and try to win some games.